Let me tell you something you already know. You need to have trust within your team. Everybody knows that, right? If you're leading a team, you know that there needs to be trust, just like any other relationship. But the problem is trust looks different to different people. So if you have a team of 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 25 people, how do you build trust with all of those people? Well, in today's video, I'm gonna help you out with that, so stay tuned. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Tony R. Sanders and you are watching The Happy Meter. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to build trust with your team. I wasn't even gonna make this video. I was thinking about another video that I wanted to make that I'll probably make in the future, and it was going to be about 5 signs that your workplace is toxic and what you can do about it. And as I started to prepare the content, one of those signs was trust. If you don't have trust in a work environment, no one trusts anyone, the leader doesn't trust the direct reports and vice versa, it's going to create a toxic work environment. It's going to be a place that no one enjoys coming to because it's too stressful. I have to look over my back. I have to watch your back and see what this person's doing and not doing. And it just makes everything crazy. And so the more I begin to unpack that 1 out of the 5 not having trust, I said, you know what? That's a video all on its own. So I'm going to give you that video. And then maybe next week or the week after, or who knows when, I'll do the video about 5 signs you're in a toxic workplace. As a matter of fact, if you want to see that video, drop a comment and say, hey, I would like to see the toxic workplace video, and I'll work on getting that done. Because if nobody wants to see it, then why do it? Okay, when it comes to building trust, trust is like love languages. Are you familiar with love languages? I'll put a link to the book in the description. When it comes to love language, everyone has their own love language. And when you show love, you tend to show love in the language that's most comfortable and natural to you, and not necessarily what's most comfortable and natural for the person you're trying to show love to. Trust is the same way. There are different trust languages, and normally we show trust the way that we would like to receive trust. And so I'm going to give you those 5 love languages of trust right now. And I made it really easy because it's an acronym for you. And the acronym spells out trust. You see how easy this is? Okay. The T in trust, the first T is transparency. The R is for respect. U is for understanding. S is for stability. And then T is for time. And we're going to break down each one of those, starting with the first T, transparency. Okay. When it comes to trust, some people are only going to trust you if they feel like you're transparent. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, as a leader, I get privileged information and I can't share everything. It's not about sharing everything. It's really about being vulnerable with your team, not being afraid to be transparent and vulnerable with your team. I'll give you an example. I had one leader who didn't make a lot of mistakes, but definitely made mistakes somewhat consistently. The problem wasn't that he made mistakes. The problem was that he never admitted to the mistakes. He would try to act like they didn't happen or it wasn't a problem or to spin it into this great thing. And it just made everyone not trust him. It was okay that he was making the mistakes, but the fact that he couldn't own up to it and say, you know what, guys, that was a mistake. I did that wrong, or I made the wrong call here, or I had all you guys doing that when I should have been doing this to make sure that you were set up for success. Because he wouldn't own that, he could never build trust within that team. And eventually the entire team left. I mean it, the entire team left. Some of them stayed at the company, but they worked for a different manager. But no one wanted to work for this person because they couldn't trust him. So make sure you're being transparent with your team to let them know, hey, yes, I made a mistake right there. It's okay. It's actually going to give them permission to try harder because they know that if you can make a mistake and we can correct it and that's okay, then they can make some mistakes too. And if they're not making mistakes, they're probably not trying. So number 1, be transparent. Okay, the R in our trust acronym, our 5 trust languages, is respect. Some people are not going to trust you unless they know that you respect them. Now, what type of respect am I talking about? I'm not talking about respecting them just because they've been at the company for 30 years, although you should. I'm not talking about respecting them because they're older than you, although you should. I mean, respect them as far as what you hire them to do, what their job is, and what they bring to the table. If you respect their skill set, if you respect their mind, their thought process, their ideas, who they are as a human being, what they bring to the table, the diversity of thought, maybe skin, background, finance, education, whatever. If you respect what they bring to the table, that will build trust with them. If you don't respect my ideas, if you don't respect who I am as a person, if you don't respect what the company hired me to do, what my job description is, what I bring to the table every day, we're not going to have a good relationship. We're not going to have trust amongst each other because there's no respect amongst each other. So there are some people on your team, they don't feel like you respect them, and so they will never trust you. And sometimes they feel like you don't trust them because you don't respect what they bring to the table. So, as Aretha would say, RESPECT, that's the way to build trust with me. I'm sorry. I had to. It just came out. I had to. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one is understanding. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Another way this could be said could be listening. Are you able to listen and see the perspective of your team or the members of your team? I have a story that I did for my friend Andrea Butcher's podcast. Shout out to Andrea with HRD. It was a podcast called Being at Work. I did 5 episodes every day, short stories talking about leadership and how to work happy. I'll put a link in the description for that as well if you want to check that out. So shout out to Andrea. One of the stories I shared was all about the leader who cared. In fact, that's what I think I titled it, The Leader Who Cared. And I shared this story about how I was going through a really rough patch and I was actually failing at work. I was literally failing to the point that I got demoted and removed from a position. Check out the episode if you want to hear the entire story. But what I was so happy with and so proud of is that the leader that I reported to was able to understand me. She was able to step outside of her own perspective, step into my shoes and see things from my angle and then handle me with care, so to speak. Now, she still had to remove me from the position. I still got demoted. I still couldn't do that job that I loved anymore because I was failing. But she did it with the right level of understanding. And to this day, we don't work together anymore. We haven't worked together for 3 years, 2.5 maybe. I still make sure I keep in contact with her. As a matter of fact, it's coming up on a time where we need to get back together and, connect again. But that's because she understood me. She had a level of understanding, even though I was failing, even though I wasn't getting it done, that built trust with me for a lifetime. So think about those people on your team that may be going through things at home, that maybe went through things through the pandemic and through everything that's happening in our country and your country, in our world, that could impact that person, and try to have a level of understanding and communicate that to them. Show that to them to let them know that you're on their side, and that'll continue to build trust. Okay, 3 down, 2 more to go. If you're liking this content, drop a like on the video, and I want to hear from you guys what trust language resonates the most with you. Which one out of the 5 resonates the most with you? Is it the 3 that we've covered already? Is it transparency, respect, understanding, or is it the 2 we're about to cover, stability and time? Let's talk about stability for a second. Stability is a simple one, but that doesn't mean that it's easy to execute. Another way to say this would be consistency. Essentially, the people on your team that need stability to build trust, they just want to know that today you're going to be who you said you were yesterday, and that tomorrow you're going to be who you showed me you were today. So be consistent. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to think the same way or you have to act the same way or be the exact same way. We all grow, we all evolve, we all should be developing, learning new information, and then implementing that stuff as we continue to grow and develop. It does mean that your character, your morals, your values, that should be stable. If you say you're this type of person, then I need you to be that type of person every single day. We all have rough patches. We all have bad days. We all go through life-changing moments, right? If you work at a job long enough and you build these connections with people, which I hope you guys are doing, because relationships is one of the key factors that will help someone love their job and have a happy team, you're going to experience some things together. There were times I came in the office and I just broke down crying. And I'm not a crier, but I broke down crying in front of my coworkers. Like, we've gone through some things together that will bond us together. And what I loved about some of those situations is that the people that I work with, for the most part, they were all who they said they were. They were stable. They were consistent. They were the same person yesterday, today, and I could count on them to be that tomorrow. So make sure that if you want to build trust with these types of people, you need to speak their language. You need to show them your stability in your leadership and your character and your morals and in your values. Okay, last but not least, time. Some people just need time. They need time to let things develop, let things soak in, really get the essence of who you are as a leader and what this organization is all about before they begin to trust you. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't trust you. It could mean that they're undecided. It could mean that they're just not a person that gives trust easily. Now, I know that could be frustrating or difficult as a leader, but think about it this way. Although that person doesn't give trust easily, normally when they do trust you, they trust you. They're like chips to the table, all in, trust you. And so it's going to take a little more time with this person. Don't try to force it on them. Don't try to make them trust you from day one, right? There are some people who, never met a stranger and they just trust everyone until someone shows them that they're untrustworthy. I understand that. There are other people who say, I'm not going to make a judgment right now. I'm going to allow you time to earn my trust. So if you have that type of person on your team, don't force it. All you need to do is show up consistently, continue to be there for them, continue to work for them. And over time, they will build trust with you and you can build trust with them. And if you do those things, if you focus in on those 5 trust languages, transparency, respect, understanding, stability, and time, I guarantee you'll be working happier. And that's what I want from you. I know you want that from yourself. If you like this video, I know you're going to love the next one. Until next time, peace.